jungle, Jill goes to the ground, and Jill saves the prince. Normally you would buy these extra games directly from Epic themselves, but initially the game was sold at retail. Either in individual box games or the complete trilogy, like this one by Good Time Software, later known as GT Interactive. All three games actually fit on one 3.5-inch or 5.25-inch high-density floppy disk, which are quite impressive, and you'll see why soon. The game itself is very straightforward, if not straight-up derivative. You are Jill of the Jungle, Amazon beauty who must traverse dozens of side-scrolling levels, attacking creatures and defending yourself on the way from point A to point B. Absolutely nothing you haven't seen before, and it's exactly what everybody else seemed to be doing in the late 80s to early 90s. But what sets Jill apart is that it's better than everything else. Not everything else, but it's very well done. For starters, just look at the game. The graphics are exceptional, with full VGA color and smooth scrolling and animation. At this point, most of the games were still using EGA on PC, and while the game does support EGA and even CGA graphics, the VGA mode really makes the game stand out from the rest. This shouldn't be a big surprise either, since the game was designed by the coding genius Tim Sweeney, who is now the CEO of Epic Games and chief architect for the Unreal Engine. While we're on technical things, I have to mention the sound. She uses Sound Blaster for the sound effects. This was a time when many shareware games still used ad-lib sound. I remember hearing this game with a friend's Sound Blaster, and man, coming from Goodbye Galaxy's ad-lib sound to the crisp amazingness of the Sound Blaster just blew me away. The sounds are all great and very classic for each action. The tossing of the knife, death laugh. Each of these can also be screwed around with in the Noisemaker. Just press keyboard keys and make lots of noise, which was always a great way to annoy your parents. And then there's the wow, I love this music. Jill of the Jungle to this day is one of my favorite game soundtracks. It's by Dan Froelich, and every one of the games that he's worked on, I end up loving the soundtrack almost more than the game. It's that good. It fits the whole game perfectly, giving it a whimsical yet slightly sexy feel to the gameplay. Not that the gameplay really needed any more help, it's pretty much flawless. Or at least I can't complain. I'm sure it could be different, but I don't know if that would make it any better. The controls are very, very controlled. In fact, they almost feel too tight or predictable at first. Each jump is very solid, and the responsiveness is dead on. You never feel like you're detached from Jill, at least when you play as Jill. I say this because every few levels it seems like you play as another character. Along your travels, you'll encounter areas where you'll need to become a creature to pass, like a fish, or a frog, or a fiery bird thing that shoots sonic booms. The controls are really different for each creature, and takes some getting used to when you first transform. These sections really do help to break up the monotony of the game because at its heart it's just simple platforming. There's nothing bad about that, but it's repetitious. You can't avoid that. And of course there are plenty of different locations to spice things up every other level, and there are even little humorous references to other games like Mario and Commander Keen, stating that they are retiring due to their inability to compete with how awesome Jill is. But after a while, there really is just no avoiding the repetition. This isn't really apparent until the second game, which contains other levels and such, but it really is just the same thing, even reusing many of the same level textures and puzzles. Oh, but wait, they've changed Jill's clothes palette. Totally different gameplay there, guys. Well, there are a few other changes content-wise. You have sound effects that have now been changed for no reason at all. I don't know why they changed these. Each episode of Jill's sound effects for things like throwing the knife, for jumping, or getting hurt are all different, and I don't get it. You'll also get more boomerang, throwing knives, shuriken, and other weapons along the way, so combined with the other occasional changes, it never feels like it's totally boring or anything. It's just something you notice once you're done playing. By the time you get to the final game, you're thoroughly in a rut. It's more of the same, although there is a new map screen from a top-down perspective in between levels. And then once you beat the game, you get a short text cutscene, and that's about it. Nothing crazy, no boss fights or epic monologues, nothing. Just a simple thanks for playing, basically. And you know what? I don't care, because I had fun. You can easily beat part 1 in a couple of hours, and the rest of the games in about the same time each, with Jill Goes Underground being the longest and probably the most challenging. Oddly, there was never a sequel to Jill of the Jungle, but there were Jill Saves the Prince retextured, with some levels from the other games thrown in as well. It was a Christian-themed game by Arc Publishing, and according to what I've read, it was either developed alongside Jill 3 or very shortly after it. It's nothing new. In fact, even though you play Dude, you still scream like Jill, and that's just a bit odd, to say the least. So if you played the Jill games, you're really not missing anything. There is also Vinyl Goddess from Mars, which was supposedly developed as Jill of the Jungle 2, but was eventually abandoned and then picked up and reworked by Six on Sledge Studios. It takes so much of the Jill formula that I consider it the sequel, even though it technically was dropped by Epic. I highly recommend this one. You should definitely play like right now. There is also Zargon, developed by Epic as well, although it was done by some different dudes. Released a year after Jill, Zargon uses a very